Remembering Ed Lee. Following the sudden death of San Francisco's mayor, we have team coverage tonight.
What kind of work do you want to do? And the mayor said, I want to really focus on education.
That's just part of the legacy Mayor Lee leaves behind in the city that he loved and served.
And in the months ahead, let's carry on in Mayor Lee's honor.
And we take a look ahead at what's next for leadership in San Francisco.
Live where you live, this is ABC7 News.
At the end of your life, you want to hear nothing more than this. People said that was a good, decent, honorable man. This was a good, decent, and honorable guy.
Heartfelt memories of a man who did much more than lead San Francisco. Ed Lee is being remembered as a mayor, family man, and a friend. Good evening, I'm Dan Ashley.
And I'm Dion Lim in for Ahmed Dates. The unexpected death of Ed Lee has left the Bay Area stunned.
It really has. His impact spread far beyond San Francisco, and we're going to share some of those stories with you tonight.
Now, we do have team coverage showing what a difference this man made. Let's begin now with ABC7 News reporter Vic Lee, who is live for us at City Hall. And Vic, certainly you spent a lot of time, a lot of years covering the mayor.
Well, Dion, people are dropping off flowers here at the steps of City Hall. As you can see, there's even a bigger memorial of flowers on the second floor, the mayor's office. Now, the reaction here at City Hall today, well, you can imagine lots of crying and lots of hugging, lots of people walking around just simply shocked and saddened.
Mayor Edwin M. Lee passed away early this morning.
Board of Supervisors President London Breed, now acting mayor, made the official announcement late this morning, but those here already knew. This after Breed held meetings with the mayor's staff and department heads before her news conference. Their tributes had a common thread, common words to describe what most called a kind, gentle man.
I'm drawn to the kind of leader that's nice, and Ed Lee was nice.
He was a mayor who led with compassion, who was an incredibly kind person.
Ed Lee always had an open door for any of us. We can call him at any time.
Mayor Lee came from humble beginnings. He grew up in public housing. His father, a veteran, mother, a seamstress. He never forgot his roots.
Stood up for immigrants, stood up for people, never forgot who he was or where he came from.
He was quiet, laid back, low key. Knew what he knew what he needed to do, get the job done.
His priorities, mourners said, were housing, homelessness, jobs, and minimum wage. Lee had many political battles in his 3 decades of public service.
Opponents may have disagreed with him on policy, but everyone agrees that our mayor was a good man with a good heart.
Well, the flags here at City Hall are at half staff. That's where they will be for the next 30 days. Now, I go back on a personal note with Mayor Ed Lee way back during the days that he was an activist with the Asian Law Caucus. He was a firebrand civil rights lawyer. He campaigned for a lot of things that he believed were good. He then spent 3 decades here at City Hall, ultimately as mayor. I believe that he thought he could change things from inside, from within the system. And that's what a lot of people said to us today, people we interviewed here, that he did just that. Vic Lee, ABC7 News.
Yeah, thank you, Vic, very much. We'll take a look at the flowers covering Ed Lee's desk. This is inside his office at City Hall. ABC7 News reporter Tiffany Wilson tweeted this video just a short time ago. She's on the story for us as well. The largest arrangement is from American Medical Response, San Francisco.
Now, Ed Lee's sudden death was a shock to his fellow mayors in the Bay Area. Many of them remembered his kindness, which extended beyond professional courtesy.
In this kind of rough and tumble world of politics, he truly was just a beacon of generosity and of decency, of compassion. It is a loss for each one of us personally who held Ed in our hearts as a true friend.
His first questions to me were, how can I help you? How can we help you be successful in San Jose, and how can we work together for the betterment of the region? I know that San Francisco will miss Ed Lee, but I think we'll all miss Ed Lee.
And those feelings extend beyond the Bay Area, of course, all the way to Washington. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi choked up as she recalled getting the news this morning.
Practically in the middle of the night, a call came that our dear mayor was shopping in the Safeway, 10:30 at night for groceries, had a heart attack, was rushed to the hospital, and died a couple of hours later. A terrible loss to our city. This is a man who has never had an unkind word to say about anyone, and nobody had an unkind word to ever say about him.
Congresswoman Jackie Speer tweeted, quote, Mayor Ed Lee was an uncommon mayor with a common touch who we should all emulate. And Senator Dianne Feinstein tweeted, the passing of Mayor Ed Lee is a very sad day for San Francisco and all of us who knew him. My heart and thoughts are with Ed's family and friends and the city I love.
Now, Ed Lee was San Francisco's first Asian American mayor, and he maintained strong ties with that community.
He really did. ABC7 News reporter Wayne Friedman continues our team coverage now live from Chinatown. Wayne?
Hi, Dan. Extremely strong ties all across the city today. We've heard about how Mayor Lee was a mayor for all the people, but that description is particularly profound here in Chinatown.
Anyone who traces Mayor Ed Lee's history in Chinatown would follow a path leading through this door and organization, the Asian Law Caucus, where photos on file tell the story of a young attorney with a passion.
When he left law school, he could have taken a lucrative job working for some major law firm, and instead took really minimal wages to represent poor people.
Don Tamaki, a friend of Mayor Lee for 40 years and his former boss at the caucus before politics. A man not surprised by how, as Ed Lee swore in, he remembered where he came from and made a pledge.
That I would do my very, very best to represent all of the communities.
When those words came from a Chinese-American mayor raised by a cook and a seamstress in public housing, they felt even more sacred.
I think his personality didn't come through necessarily when in his suit and tie.
Arthi Kohli is executive director at the Asian Law Caucus today. Looking through photos, she told the story of a young lawyer who began as a clerk and then spent 13 years here.
Yeah, he was a great radical.
A radical who fought the system from outside and then worked within it. In Chinatown, that was just one beautiful part of Ed Lee's being mayor. Audi Kochiyama Holman remembers another.
I think it gave people hope that there was someone who looked like him, who came from very modest beginnings, and that he could rise to be mayor.
A mayor who never forgot his roots, so many roots that ran so deep.
We'll miss having someone who had our back. He totally had our back.
Not just Chinatown's back, but everyone's back. Live on Grant Street in San Francisco, Wayne Friedman, ABC7 News.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you, Wayne. San Francisco has been through this painful transition before, as you know. In November of 1978, Senator Dianne Feinstein became mayor after the assassination of George Moscone. Feinstein had been president of the Board of Supervisors at the time, just like London Breed was until early this morning.
Now, speaking of, San Francisco's acting mayor is London Breed. She was president of the Board of Supervisors until early this morning. The 43-year-old was born in San Francisco, has a bachelor's degree from UC Davis and a master's in public administration from the University of San Francisco. She's served on the board since 2012.
So London Breed is now acting mayor, but for how long? And what exactly is the process for selecting the next mayor of San Francisco?
Yeah, great questions. And ABC7 News anchor Kristen Z joins us now with details on the succession timeline. Kristen.
Well, Dan and Dion, London Breed is now the city's first female African-American chief executive.
Mayor Breed will be both the acting mayor and the president of the Board of Supervisors. Mayor Breed has all the powers and responsibilities and duties of acting mayor by virtue of her position as board president.
So what's next? Well, city charter says Breed will remain at the helm until one of two things happen. No matter what, an election will take place June 5th of next year. That winner chosen by voters will finish out Lee's term, which ends in January 2020. Before that, the Board of Supervisors can meet at any time to vote on someone else to serve as acting mayor until the June election. But the person would need 6 of the 11 supervisors' votes, and finding that degree of consensus is not easy, in part because you can't vote for yourself. In fact, the board's inability to reach an agreement after then Mayor Gavin Newsom's departure eventually led to the selection of Ed Lee in 2011, someone who is acceptable to many because he had been an unassuming civil servant with few political enemies. Dan and Dion.
All right, Kristen, and we did alert everyone out there to this breaking news just after 2:30 this morning, and we've been sending updates all day long. If you'd like to get these breaking news alerts as they happen, you can download the ABC7 News app and enable those push alerts.
Well, let's move on for the moment. Today, the man convicted of killing Sierra Lamar was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Sierra was the teenager who went missing while on her way to school near Morgan Hill 5 years ago. ABC7 News reporter Chris Wynn was in the Santa Clara County Hall of Justice as this case came to a close.
Tonight, a family tries to move forward.
You never have closure, and the pain never goes away, unfortunately.
Outside the Santa Clara County Hall of Justice, the Lamar family reflects on more than 5 years of heartbreak.
And it's just hard to believe that this happened. I still wake up every day thinking it's a dream, but it's reality, and I'm dealing with it every day.
In the spring of 2012, 15-year-old Sierra Lamar went missing while heading to school near Morgan Hill. The disappearance triggered a massive search to find her and the person responsible for the kidnapping. Late this afternoon, 26-year-old Antolin Garcia Torres, seen here in a previous courtroom appearance, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for killing Lamar. He'll also have to register as a sex offender.
I think about her all the time, and what's been taken from me as a mother.
Earlier this morning, a last-ditch effort from the defense to request a new trial. Garcia Torres' attorney questioning the credibility of the lead investigator due to allegations of evidence mishandling in another case. The judge denied the motion, which was then followed by victims' impact statements to the court. Sierra's parents opting to address Garcia Torres face-to-face from the witness stand.
Our sentence is never having Sierra, never being able to see Sierra again, have her with us in the holidays.
Despite the ruling, Lamar's body has never been found, something that continues to haunt those involved with the case.
I hope and pray that one day we will find her and we will be able to lay her to rest.
Garcia Torres' attorney says his client plans to appeal the sentence. In San Jose, Chris Wynn, ABC7 News.
And coming up next, see what's left of homes in the Oakland Hills after this raging fire sparked overnight.
And the votes are coming in. We'll have the latest from Alabama's embattled Senate race featuring Roy Moore versus Doug Jones.
I'm Spencer Christian. After a sunny and almost balmy day, it's going to be another clear and chilly night. I'll have the AccuWeather forecast coming up.
Boy, take a look at this. Fire in the Oakland Hills damaged or destroyed more than half a dozen houses, forcing people to evacuate overnight. Something sparked that fire in the early morning hours along Snake Road. ABC7 News reporter Leslie Brinkley shows us the damage done.
Flames erupted around 11 o'clock last night on this steep construction site in the Oakland Hills, where 2 homes were nearing completion along Snake Road.
I went outside, saw a bunch of embers coming down on the trees, and just yelled for my wife to grab the baby.
Neighbor Greg Holt and his family managed to escape from what he described as a 40-foot wall of flames approaching his home and embers raining down. The Holts came back to look at their home today, blackened by the blaze, trash cans melted, scorch spots everywhere, smoke and flames still visible. Firefighters described the air as filled with flying embers as they first arrived. They evacuated 50 homes as the flames advanced up a dry hillside, fueled by 18-mile-an-hour winds and extremely low humidity.
We were able to save a lot of homes here in Oakland Hills.
Could have been a lot worse.
Could have been a lot worse. We could be facing what they're facing in Southern California.
I looked through my back window and I saw a wall of fire, and I actually thought it was in the back of my house. It was very scary.
In the end, 2 families were displaced, 5 homes were badly damaged. Structural engineers are evaluating Snake Road now to determine if it's still safe to drive on after the fire.
The Holt family said they were appropriately paranoid and that they had already packed a go bag in the wake of the North Bay fires and the Southern California fires. They got out the door in 90 seconds, and they credit that with saving their lives. In the Oakland Hills, I'm Leslie Brinkley, ABC7 News.
Preparation really is so key. Well, back to our top story today, the unexpected death of San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee.
Yeah, he will be remembered for being the city's first Chinese-American mayor, but he has also stepped up to lead a city emerging from a national economic crisis as well.
Yeah, ABC7 News reporter Carolyn Tyler joining us now. More on his legacy. Carolyn.
Well, Mayor Lee was really proud of his rise to power in San Francisco and the role he played in the community. He was dedicated to making the city a better place to live during his tenure as mayor.
Ed Lee's career in San Francisco city government began long before he was appointed mayor.
He was literally the cornerstone. He, for a brief period of time, did human rights, and he was a stalwart in every aspect of my relationship with the Far East.
He became public works director, then city administrator. That's the job he was doing in 2011 when the Board of Supervisors appointed him mayor after Gavin Newsom was elected to lieutenant governor.
Mayor Lee was a person who came to the office ready to get the job done.
As mayor, Lee never lost touch with his immigrant roots. Just last year, he helped open a hospital that catered to the Chinese-speaking community in San Francisco.
It's become a Bay Area institution, joining up with hospitals like Kaiser and CPMC and SF General.
Shortly after taking office, he set his sights on San Francisco's gritty Market Street, landing Twitter to anchor what's become known as the Twitterloin. Before his career in San Francisco politics, Ed Lee was a housing rights activist. Raised in public housing himself, he tackled the rebuilding of the city's aging public housing infrastructure and created a Department of Homelessness to get people off the streets.
He was admired not only personally by those who knew him, officially by how he served our city, nationally by other mayors who recognized his excellence. He will be sorely missed.
And when I spoke with Congresswoman Pelosi, she told me she was devastated, but at the same time, she says it was hard not to smile when talking about Ed Lee. He had that really upbeat personality, a sense of humor, and big love for this city.
Oh, he sure did. He loved to laugh, and I always loved being around him. Had some great conversations with him over the years. You knew him quite well as well. What are your impressions of this man?
Well, as I said, he was a gentleman who was really dedicated to the city and to his family. He really wanted to do a lot of good. He had come here as a housing rights activist, a civil rights activist. He helped to integrate the fire department for minorities and women by actually suing the city. He went to bat for the immigrant community, trying to get better housing conditions. And so that sort of thing is what I will remember. He was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
And controversial times, certainly.
Yeah, and people will judge that stuff later, but today it's a day for remembering him and mourning him for the good that he did.
He was a big city mayor, but at his heart, he wasn't a politician, really. He was a public servant and a really nice man.
Yeah.
All right, thanks,
Definitely.
Carolyn, very much.
All right, shifting gears now a little bit to the weather situation. That pattern continues for us.
It does indeed. A little bit warm during the day, chilly at night. Spencer's back with more of the same, maybe,
The
Spencer?
pattern goes on for maybe 7 more days. Here's a look at live Doppler 7. We have mainly clear skies now with the thin high clouds that have been part of the skyscape for the last week or so. A little bit of haze is in the sky as well because of smoke continuing to move into our region from the fires down in Northern California. The winds aloft are carrying the smoke out to sea and then sweeping it northward into our region, thus the haze, thus also the decline in air quality here in the Bay Area. We've had 5 consecutive spare of the air days. It looks like we'll have 2 more. Right now we're looking live from our rooftop camera out over the Embarcadero into clear skies. It is 57 degrees here in San Francisco, down to 49 in Oakland, getting chilly there already. And we have mid-50s, mid to upper 50s at Mountain View, San Jose, Gilroy, and Half Moon Bay. And here's the view from our East Bay Hills camera looking westward over the bay and along the Bay Bridge. It's 50 degrees in Santa Rosa right now. We've got mid-40s at Napa, Nevada, 42 degrees at Fairfield, 53 rather at Concord, 47 at Livermore. And one more live view looking down onto San Francisco from Sutro Tower. These are our forecast features. It'll be cold in the inland valleys again tonight. We'll have poor air quality the next 2 days and a chance of rain late next week. And that will change the air quality, we hope. But for tonight, much of the same we've seen the last few nights. Clear skies in the inland valleys. Look for low temperatures overnight dropping into the upper 20s and low 30s. It's going to be really cold there. Right around the bay, we'll see lows of 40 at Richmond and Oakland. Closer to the coast, it'll be a little bit milder with lows in the mid to upper 40s. And tomorrow will be much like today. Hazy sunshine and much milder than average for this time of the year. Once again, we'll see a high of 67 in Half Moon Bay, mainly mid-60s right around the bay and mid to upper 60s in the mildest inland locations. And we have 2 more spare the air days coming our way tomorrow and Thursday. That'll make 7 consecutive spare the air days. We get an improvement in air quality on Friday, and by Saturday, many locations around the Bay Area will have good air quality. Now, it's been a dry December so far, as you know. The dry pattern will continue at least into the middle of next week through next Wednesday, the 20th, we are forecasting. But there's a hint of some rain coming in on Thursday and Friday of next week. So let's look ahead with our forecast animation to next Wednesday, the 20th at 5 p.m. We'll see rain and snow to our north, but by midday on Thursday, we'll see rain pushing down into the Bay Area, snow into the Sierra, and there'll be more to follow on Friday of next week if this forecast model holds up. So we do have some precipitation to look forward to. Here's the AccuWeather 7-day forecast. Before that rain comes in next week, it looks like almost no change from day to day, except maybe an increase in clouds on Friday, bringing us some better air quality. But the weather picture is about the same. Sunny days with mild conditions, highs in the upper 60s, cold overnights, at least for the next few overnights.
Okay, thanks, Spencer.
Okay.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel brought a guest to his late show last night like any other, his own son.
Next, you'll hear the message that little Billy helped share that brought the late night host to tears. Back in a moment. Happening now, the beginning of Hanukkah. The Festival of Lights officially began at sundown. The National Hanukkah menorah was lit at a special ceremony near the White House this evening. Hanukkah celebrates the rededication of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. The celebration will last for 8 days and nights. Happy Hanukkah.
Well, maybe you caught this, but Jimmy Kimmel made an emotional return last night to his ABC show, Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Yeah, Jimmy walked out with his son Billy, who underwent his second heart surgery last week. Jimmy choked up, then talked about the Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP, which has run out of federal funding.
Daddy cries on TV, but Billy doesn't. It's unbelievable. Imagine getting that letter, literally not knowing how you'll be able to afford to save your child's life. This is not a hypothetical. About 2 million CHIP kids have serious chronic conditions. I don't know about you. I've had enough of this. I don't know what could be more disgusting than putting a tax cut that mostly goes to rich people ahead of the lives of children.
Yeah, it's an important message. The host told his audience that he and Billy want them to call Congress and tell their representatives to fund CHIP now. Kimmel revealed in May in an emotional monologue that his son needed heart surgery a few days after he was born.
Now you can watch Jimmy Kimmel Live every weeknight here on ABC7, right after ABC7 News at 11. Tonight's guests are actor Dwayne Johnson, as well as writer and director Guillermo del Toro.
Well, coming up next on ABC7 News at 6, we'll take a look at the long-term impact Mayor Ed Lee has on education in the Bay Area.
And details on a shooting not far from a San Jose mall less than 2 weeks before Christmas. More to come.
Live where you live. This is ABC7 News.
Recapping our top story now, it is a somber night in San Francisco. Mayor Ed Lee died early this morning of apparent cardiac arrest.
The city's new acting mayor is London Breed, president of the Board of Supervisors. She is the city's first female African-American chief executive.
Now, Lee, of course, was San Francisco's first mayor of Asian descent. His sudden death has stunned the city and his colleagues.
Because Ed Lee was different from any of the rest of us holding public office.
Here's a look at the front page of tomorrow's San Francisco Chronicle, focusing on the big changes the city has undergone during Lee's tenure as mayor.
Now, one of Ed Lee's greatest legacies will be education. He and Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff shared a common goal to improve student learning opportunities in our schools and create the next generation of Silicon Valley employees.
Yeah, and today Benioff tweeted that Mayor Ed Lee was one of the nicest and kindest leaders I've ever known. ABC7 News reporter Leanne Melendez has that story.
These 3D printers were purchased with funds provided by the mayor's Middle Grades Leadership Initiative. They keep students at Aptos Middle School more engaged in technology.
All they need is a fake idea and they'll be able to get a job on the Salesforce building, helping build it.
That confident, huh?
Yep.
Nothing is more important than our public education.
Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff was first asked to invest in public education by Mayor Ed Lee. In 2013, Benioff donated iPads and money to all 12 middle schools in San Francisco. The mayor's deputy chief of staff for education and equity, Hydra Mendoza, remembers how both Lee and Benioff instantly connected.
When he talked about education, that was, Mark was like, that's it. Let's focus on that. So tell me what it is that you want to do.
Salesforce has funded the initiative every year since 2013, donating $7 million in 2017. Today, the mayor's initiative has received more than $26 million in funding from Salesforce over the past 5 years. Middle schools in San Francisco, like Aptos, now offer a solid STEM education. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. Mayor Lee was always proud of that accomplishment.
Our 8th graders are performing the best. Our urban school district is the best in all urban schools.
He always believed the money was never a donation, but an investment in our children. In San Francisco, Leanne Melendez, ABC7 News.
You're watching students at the Ruth Asawa School of the Arts performing a Brazilian drum rhythm in memory of Mayor Ed Lee. Lee asked the school students to perform numerous times at San Francisco City Hall, and today they saluted him with this traditional honor.
At this time, we will stop all service for a moment of silence.
And transit agencies across the Bay Area, including Muni, BART, and Caltrain, briefly stopped service at noon today and held a moment of silence in remembrance of the late mayor.
Flags across the city, including this one outside City Hall, were lowered to half staff. This is video from Sky 7 shortly after sunrise today. According to Acting Mayor London Breed, all flags will fly at half staff across the city for the next 30 days. Now, up until the this death, Mayor Ed Lee showed no signs of any obvious health problems. Yesterday, ABC7 News was at Ted's Market on Howard Street, where the mayor announced plans to improve recycling programs.
This city has been wonderful to work for, not only in the capacity of mayor, but also working alongside Scott and the Board of Supervisors that are 100% committed, because we are still the only city in the country that's got an 85% recycling done already with all of our garbage. So why not do even better than that?
Now, that event was just about 12 hours before Lee's death. Now, certainly reaction has poured in from around the country on Lee's passing. California Senator Kamala Harris tweeted this photo you see here, adding the caption, "I am deeply saddened by the passing of my friend, San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee. He was a fierce advocate for civil rights and worked tirelessly for workers' rights, and his leadership will be missed. Keeping the mayor's family in my prayers during this difficult time."
All right, moving on for another few moments. Happening now, the votes are still being added up in a tightly contested, controversial special election for the U.S. Senate in Alabama tonight. Republican Roy Moore leads Democrat Doug Jones, but only some of the votes have been counted. With 48% of precincts reporting, Moore holds about a 3% lead. Jones hoped traditionally right-leaning Alabama would support him. Moore has denied several accusations of sexual harassment. President Trump urged Alabamans to vote for Moore. One local political analyst believes that there is a theory behind Moore's support from the White House.
President Trump's campaigning for this particular individual
is as much or more about saving his own political bacon in an impeachment proceeding as it is about getting votes on particular pieces of legislation.
You can see a full breakdown of the Alabama Senate race and what it means tomorrow on Good Morning America. GMA starts at 7 right after ABC7 mornings. And right now, let's give you a live look at the headquarters for Doug Jones on the left and Roy Moore on the right. Supporters on both sides are waiting anxiously for the final results. Again, 48% of the precincts are now reporting, with Moore receiving 3% more votes at this moment. Download the ABC7 News app and enable push alerts to get the final results of this special election just as soon as they come in.
Well, back here at home, we are following some breaking news coming into the ABC7 newsroom right now. Take a look at your screen. Sky 7 is live overhead at North 1st Street, and this is East Rosemary Street in San Jose. What you're seeing is a VTA train that hit a pedestrian. As of right now, we don't know the condition of that person. Keep in mind, a bus bridge is being set up through that area. Well, San Jose police are looking for the person who shot a man in the head this afternoon near a popular mall. It happened around 1 o'clock near Capitol Expressway and Tully Road on a service road next to Eastridge Mall. ABC7 News reporter Janine De La Vega has the very latest.
We are here on Eastridge Loop, very close to the mall near where JCPenney's is, and police are here investigating after a man was shot in the head while driving. The man was inside that silver car that you see. A relative just came and is about to drive away in it. That is his car, but police are just wrapping up their investigation. They still have their crime tape up here. Now let's go to some video taken earlier from Sky 7 where you can see the officers on the ground. They were collecting evidence and doing their investigation, and you could see just how close it was to the mall parking lot. Officers say just before 1 this afternoon, a shot was fired from a car at Tully and Capitol Expressway. The gunshot hit a man who was driving, and he had his window open. He realized what happened, and police tell us that he got out of his car and switched with one of the passengers and had the passenger drive, and then the car came to a rest here on Eastridge Loop. This is near the bus depot at the Eastridge Mall. The victim was taken to the hospital. We are told that he has non-life-threatening injuries. At this point, police say they do not have any suspects in custody, and right now they don't even have a description of the suspect vehicle. Reporting from San Jose, Janine De La Vega, ABC7 News.
Coming up next on ABC7 News at 6, the very latest on the wildfire that threatens thousands of homes in Santa Barbara County and elsewhere. Plus,
they don't even exist yet, which is exactly why one local lawmaker wants to outlaw autonomous killer robots. I'm Jonathan Bloom with the sci-fi future he wants to prevent from becoming reality. Ahead on ABC7 News.
Now to the latest on the Southern California wildfire fight. Only one of the 5 active fires is still a major concern tonight. That's the Thomas Fire, burning in Ventura and Santa Barbara counties, now in its 9th day. The fire has burned more than 234,000 acres, which is the equivalent of 360 square miles. 6,200 firefighters are attacking the fire from the ground and sky, trying to make forward progress with 20% containment right now.
Our number one concern is to keep the fire out of Carpinteria, Montecito, Summerland, and Santa Barbara, and we're doing that so far.
Well, take a look at this time-lapse video showing an enormous plume of smoke still lingering above both counties while ash continues to fall like snow. Also new today, Southern California Edison, which provides electricity to Ventura County, confirmed that state investigators are looking at whether their equipment helped start that devastating fire.
And back up here, the Sonoma County District Attorney's Office has filed 3 misdemeanor price gouging complaints, naming 6 landlords following the North Bay wildfires. The DA is still investigating 40 out of 120 complaints. It is illegal in California to raise the price of items and services, including lodging, food, gas, medical supplies, more than 10% for 30 days after an emergency has been declared. Governor Brown extended that prohibition in the fire-devastated counties to April 18th.
There's been one increase pre-fire of $3,500 for a rental of a residence to that of an ultimate price of $10,000. No one should be allowed to profit from this tragedy in our community.
The penalty for price gouging during a declared emergency is up to a year in jail and/or a fine of up to $10,000.
Coming up, 2 more Spare the Air alerts have been issued in the Bay Area.
Spencer will have a look at our air quality and the full forecast next. All right, let's update the breaking news in San Jose. The pedestrian hit by a VTA train has died, we understand. Sky 7 is live over the scene by North 1st Street and East Rosemary Street. A bus bridge is in effect for VTA commuters between the Civic Center and Carina stations. But again, sadly, this is a fatal mishap.
Well, tonight we are remembering San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee, who passed away unexpectedly overnight. Governor Jerry Brown tweeted the following: Ed was a true champion for working people and epitomized the California spirit. He'll be truly missed. Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom tweeted this photo with the caption, "Absolutely heartbroken by Mayor Lee's passing. San Francisco has lost a selfless leader and dedicated public servant whose intellect, integrity, boundless optimism, and contagious love elevated our city." Lee died of apparent cardiac arrest. About 1:30 this afternoon, his body was taken to a mortuary in Daly City. The city's acting mayor is now London Breed, president of the Board of Supervisors.
Opponents may have disagreed with him on policy, but everyone agrees that our mayor was a good man with a good heart.
Now, speaking of Twitter, Ed Lee's final tweet was posted about 24 hours ago and could be seen as somewhat of a final message. His last line there: "We need to continue to build safe housing at all income levels."
Well, today, San Mateo County leaders discussed proposing a nationwide ban on something that doesn't exist, at least not yet.
Yeah, it sounds kind of confusing, but ABC7 News reporter Jonathan Bloom explains why scientists say it's a future worse than nuclear war and want governments to take action.
Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite.
What you're watching is not real, but the makers of this film worry it could be.
It does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive.
The video was shown to San Mateo County supervisors.
It's pretty realistic for what we're going to be looking at in the not-too-distant future.
Stanford lecturer Todd Davies spoke to support Supervisor Dave Canepa, whose resolution would ask Congress to ban autonomous weapons.
No robot should have the ability to decide whether any of us should live or die.
Davies co-authored a paper on the draconian future that could play out.
Some kind of automated attack, which killed 11 U.S. senators at the Capitol building.
They flew in from everywhere but attacked just one side of the aisle.
A future especially frightening to PhD student Michael Tesler, a descendant of Holocaust survivors.
In the future, you can program robots to figure out people of a certain ethnicity or race that you want to destroy.
But before taking on the weapons themselves, the supervisors will have to answer a more basic question. Should local government be getting involved with this international issue?
It feels to me it's too far outside our core orbit.
Canepa maintains it's a local issue.
This technology is being developed in San Mateo, in Santa Clara County. We're in the heart of Silicon Valley.
But in the end,
I'm concerned that you may not have the votes.
He withdrew the motion and could bring it back in a month after more discussion.
Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, people who deal in the AI community, the AI robotics community, they know this is an issue and they know that it's a problem.
One to which scientists say the only solution is not to create it in the first place.
To me, the scariest thing is that there's really no practical defense against it.
In Redwood City, Jonathan Bloom, ABC7 News.
Well, that's unnerving.
Scary. It's like a movie, yeah.
Right. Well, we are in the midst of a 7-day stretch of Spare the Air days because of the Southern California wildfires.
Yeah, if there is a bright spot at all of the pollution in the air does make for some spectacular sunsets. Check it out. This was the view we captured just about an hour ago or so from our Emeryville tower camera. We sped it up a little bit so you can see the light changing there in the sky. We are less than 10 days away from the shortest day of the year, the winter solstice.
Now, Spencer's back with an update on the forecast. Spencer.
Okay, we have more of the same coming our way. Here's a look at live Doppler 7. Clear skies right now. It's going to get very chilly tonight. As a matter of fact, it'll be cold in some of our inland valleys. Up in the North Bay, look for lows of 28 Santa Rosa, 30 at Napa over in the East Bay. Livermore will bottom out at 34 degrees. Fairfield will have a low of 28 right around the bay. Oakland and Richmond will bottom out at 40 degrees. But tomorrow will be another hazy and mild day with highs in the mid to upper 60s across the board from coast to bay to inland. Now here's the AccuWeather 7-day forecast. Notice very little change in the temperature range here for the 7 days ahead. We expect better air quality on Friday, though. Tomorrow and Thursday will be Spare the Air days, 7 in a row. We expect some improvement on Friday and Saturday. And late next week, we expect some rain to come in. That's what the long-term models are showing us right now.
Still so far out, though, Spencer.
Seems very far away, I know.
Yeah, we'll be watching it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And, sometimes the news world intersects with the sports world, and that is the case tonight.
Yeah, and Larry joining us right now with reaction from the sports world.
Yeah, so sad and so shocking this morning to wake up and hear the news about Ed Lee. The sports world reflects on the passing of the mayor, his legacy, and his impact on the Bay Area sports scene. Next.
ABC7 Sports, brought to you by River Rock Casino.
Good evening. The sports world is mourning the loss of San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee. Lee had a major impact on what the Bay Area sports scene will look like for decades to come.
3 and 5 years. I can't still believe it. We're in a dream.
Often seen basking in the championship glow, a smile on his face, Ed Lee genuinely loved Bay Area sports. And the teams were a fan of his, too.
He was a true personal friend of so many people here, but also a great friend of the Warriors. And, you know, in our history will go down as one of the most important people.
Lee's love of sports was real. He helped bring the U.S. Open and America's Cup to San Francisco.
All the different sales. It's wonderful. Great experience.
Hosted a Super Bowl.
Welcome to San Francisco, the host of Super Bowl 50.
And lured the Golden State Warriors from Oakland back to the city. He knew the all-star athletes by name.
You give Steve Curry an inch, and he might take a Golden State a mile.
Don't worry, he made up for that one.
Number 30 on the court, but number 1 in the hearts of Warriors fans everywhere, Stephen Curry.
Lee was in his element as he celebrated 2 Warriors and 2 Giants world championships.
I think it's all about teamwork.
And while the 49ers technically left for Santa Clara under his watch, it was the decisions of his predecessors that led to their move, which he made up for when, shovel in hand, he broke ground on the Chase Center.
And it speaks volumes to the commitment of this ownership group, and it also says something about our city.
Without his invitation to return the Warriors to San Francisco and his dedication to doing all the things that had to happen to make it a reality, it wouldn't have happened.
A crown jewel arena for the Warriors that will be a major part of Ed Lee's lasting legacy. On a personal note, a few years ago, I was hosting a luncheon for what is now the Foster Farms Bowl, the football game, and the mayor was kind enough after the luncheon to take a selfie with me and my daughter, Kiana, who had just met him for the first time, and she said, "The mayor is so nice." Yeah. ABC7 Sports brought to you by River Rock Casino. Life can change in an instant.
Yeah, it was infectious to be around because he loved people. He was always super gracious and nice, and he loved being mayor of this city. He just loved it.
He was very proud, very proud of that.
And something interesting in your video I saw in every sports event that he was a part of, he just had this enthusiasm, and I think he was having a great time himself.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, nice to see.
Yeah. All right, well, join us tonight at 9 o'clock on Coffee TV 20, cable channel 13. And coming up, a single mother's secret Santa shows up at this toy store, how he turned her Christmas dream into reality. That's at 9.
Then on ABC7 News at 11, an emotional night inside San Francisco City Hall as supervisors reminisce about their colleague and friend, Mayor Ed Lee.
Coming up tonight on ABC7 at 8, it's The Middle, followed by Fresh Off the Boat. At 9, catch Blackish, then The Mayor at 9:30, followed by Kevin Probably Saves the World. Then we'll be back with you for ABC7 News at 11.
And at 11:35, it's Jimmy Kimmel Live. Tonight's guests are actor Dwayne Johnson as well as writer and director Guillermo del Toro.
That is all coming up later for you tonight, but that is this edition of ABC7 News. We appreciate your time. I'm Dan Ashley.
And I'm Dion Lim, and on behalf of everyone here at ABC7 News, have a wonderful night.
When conditions change where you live.
We're expecting heavy rain in the Bay Area tomorrow.
This is going to be a strong, slow-moving soaker.
ABC7 alerts you first.
Officials are taking the flash flood warning up here very seriously.
When you need to know what's headed your way.
So let's get right to our storm. It's a level 3 on our storm impact scale.
Live Doppler 7 is wherever you are.
Live Doppler 7, along with satellite, this is our storm system right here.
Stay ahead of the storm and find out first with ABC7 Weather.
Tony Bennett is very cool. He's also my favorite male vocalist of all time. I did like Sinatra, but I preferred Tony Bennett.
I think I saw something that Sinatra passed on this day in 19...
Okay, guys, here we go.
98?
Yeah.
Something like that.
On this day.
Wow.
3, 2.
Hi, I'm Spencer Christian with the AccuWeather Bay Area forecast. Overnight, it's going to be cold once again, especially in the inland valleys where lows will drop down to or below freezing in some spots. Right around the bay, we'll see lows in the low to mid 40s. And then tomorrow, we'll have another hazy, sunny, and mild day with highs in the mid to upper 60s from coast to bay to inland. Here's the AccuWeather 7-day forecast. We're going to have 7 more days like this before any cooling will occur. That's the AccuWeather Bay Area forecast. Right.
Breaking news.
Always on the ABC7 News app.
Yes.
Oh.
For the 9 people who see it.
Oh.
Have you ever been in a cab?
It's been a long time.
They don't even have the volume up on those things.
I know. You can read captions.
It's just, they don't. You've been in those cabs. I think the
Breaking news.
Always on the ABC7 News app.
I'm Dan Ashley. Here are your top Bay Area stories. It is a somber time in San Francisco. Mayor Ed Lee died early Tuesday morning of apparent cardiac arrest. The city's new acting mayor is London Breed, president of the Board of Supervisors. She is the city's first female African-American chief executive. Lee, of course, was San Francisco's first mayor of Asian descent. His sudden death has stunned the city and his colleagues.
Because Ed Lee was different from any of the rest of us holding public office.
And here's a look at the front page of tomorrow's San Francisco Chronicle, focusing on the big changes the city has undergone during Lee's tenure as mayor. Well, flags across the city are being lowered to half-staff. This one shot by Sky 7 is outside City Hall. Acting Mayor London Breed ordered all flags at half-staff throughout San Francisco for the next 30 days. Definitely a difficult time for the city and all who knew and cared about Mayor Ed Lee. So for now, I'm Dan Ashley. Keep track of the latest breaking news with the ABC7 News app. It's free to download for smartphones and tablets, and we'll send you alerts on what's breaking here in the Bay Area. Take good care. See you soon.